Jack Thompson had always been the epitome of hard work and dedication. Ever since he landed his job at Benny's Diner, he made it a point to give his best every single day. However, Benny's Diner was no paradise. Owned by Benny Harris, a man notorious for his tyrannical management style, the diner was more a battlefield than a workplace. Benny had a sharp tongue and a mean streak, and he seemed to take particular delight in tormenting Jack. From the very beginning, Benny made it clear that he didn't think much of Jack. Whether it was his appearance, his work ethic, or just his very presence, Benny found fault with everything Jack did. He mocked Jack's disheveled hair, his worn-out shoes, and even his polite demeanor. Benny's derision was relentless. "Look at you, Jack. Can't you at least try to look like you care about this job?" Benny would sneer, his voice dripping with disdain. Jack bore the brunt of Benny's cruel jokes and scornful comments, becoming the diner's scapegoat. Despite the constant humiliation and the pitiful wages Benny doled out, Jack kept coming back. The pay was far below what he deserved, and Benny always found excuses to dock his wages further. "You spilled some soup today, Jack. That's coming out of your paycheck," Benny would say, exploiting every minor mistake to justify underpaying him. But Jack had no choice. He needed the money, no matter how little, to keep a roof over his head and food on his table. Months rolled by, and Jack's situation didn't improve. He was perpetually exhausted from the long hours and the emotional toll of Benny's abuse. Yet, he maintained a sense of duty and kindness that was unshakable. Jack was the kind of person who believed in the goodness of people and the importance of helping others, no matter how tough his own circumstances were. His colleagues noticed his resilience and admired his fortitude, but they too were intimidated by Benny and felt powerless to intervene. One particularly cold and dismal evening, after enduring another day of Benny's tirades, Jack was closing up the diner when he noticed a homeless man sitting outside. The man looked gaunt and frail, his clothes tattered and his eyes hollow with hunger. It was a sight that tugged at Jack's heartstrings. He knew all too well the pain of going without, and something in him couldn't bear to ignore this man's plight. Without thinking of the consequences, Jack decided to act. He went back inside, fired up the stove, and prepared a hearty meal, a generous portion of soup, a freshly made sandwich, and a warm slice of pie. Jack knew this act of kindness could get him into trouble, but at that moment, all he cared about was helping someone in need. With a smile, he handed the meal to the homeless man, who looked at Jack with tears of gratitude in his eyes. For Jack, it was a moment of pure humanity, a chance to do something meaningful amid the drudgery and despair. But Jack's altruism did not escape Benny's watchful eyes. Benny had been lurking in the back, and as soon as he saw Jack handing out the food, he erupted in fury. He stormed out, his face a mask of rage. "What the hell do you think you're doing, Jack? Giving away my food? Are you out of your mind?" Benny's voice was loud and venomous, echoing through the empty diner. Jack tried to explain, to make Benny understand the importance of that small act of kindness, but Benny was beyond reason. "You're fired, Jack. I've had enough of your incompetence and your bleeding heart. Get out and don't ever come back." Benny's words were final, and they hit Jack like a sledgehammer. The other employees watched in shocked silence, too scared to come to Jack's defense. With a heavy heart, Jack took off his apron and walked out of the diner, the place he had given so much of himself to, feeling a mix of fear, shame, and an unexpected sense of relief. As he stepped into the cold night, Jack felt the weight of uncertainty press down on him. He had no job, no steady income, and no clear idea of what to do next. But as he glanced back one last time, he realized he was also free from Benny's cruelty, free from the constant belittlement, and free from the toxic environment that had drained him for so long. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew he had done the right thing, and somehow that gave him hope. Little did Jack know, this abrupt and harsh turn of events was not an end but a beginning. This act of kindness that cost him his job would set in motion a series of events that would transform his life in ways he never could have imagined. Jack was about to embark on a journey filled with unexpected allies, new opportunities, and the kind of fulfillment that he had always yearned for but had never quite found at Benny's Diner. Jack Thompson stood in the cold night, the diner's neon lights flickering behind him, casting long shadows on the pavement. The reality of his situation began to sink in. He had no job, no steady income, and a world of uncertainty ahead. Despite the fear gnawing at him, there was a sliver of relief. For the first time in months, he was free from Benny's cruel grip. As Jack walked home, he resolved to find a new job, something that would not only pay the bills but also treat him with the respect and dignity he deserved. The next morning, Jack set out with renewed determination. Armed with a handful of resumes and a heart full of hope, he scoured the town for job openings. He visited cafes, bakeries, and diners, leaving his resume wherever he could. Days turned into weeks, and while he received a few interviews, none seemed promising. The sting of rejection was tough, but Jack pressed on, refusing to let despair take hold. One chilly afternoon, Jack found himself wandering through a part of town he rarely visited. Tucked away on a quiet street, he stumbled upon a small, quaint restaurant called Maggie's Place. The exterior was charming, with flower boxes under the windows and a wooden sign that swung gently in the breeze. Curiosity piqued, Jack decided to step inside. The interior of Maggie's Place was warm and inviting, a stark contrast to the harsh, sterile environment of Benny's Diner. The air was filled with the mouth-watering aroma of home-cooked meals, and soft music played in the background. Behind the counter stood an elderly woman with kind eyes and a gentle smile. Her silver hair was tied back in a loose bun, and her hands moved deftly as she arranged freshly baked pastries on display. "Hello there, young man. Can I help you?" she asked, her voice soothing and warm. Jack introduced himself and explained his situation, including his recent dismissal from Benny's Diner. The old woman listened attentively, her expression sympathetic. Her name was Maggie Harris, the owner and heart of Maggie's Place. Unlike Benny, Maggie radiated kindness and a genuine interest in others. "Well, Jack," she said thoughtfully, "I could use some help around here. It's hard to find good help these days, and you seem like a hardworking and honest young man. How about you start tomorrow? The pay isn't extravagant, but I believe in fair wages and treating people right." Jack's heart swelled with gratitude. "Thank you, Maggie. You don't know how much this means to me." The next day, Jack began his new job at Maggie's Place. From the moment he started, he felt a world of difference. Maggie was patient and understanding, always ready to offer guidance and support. She appreciated Jack's efforts, praised his work, and treated him with the respect he had long been denied. The atmosphere was one of camaraderie and warmth, with Maggie's regular customers soon becoming friends. Jack felt like he had finally found a place where he belonged. The work was hard, but it was fulfilling. Jack quickly learned the ins and outs of the restaurant business, picking up new skills and gaining valuable experience. Maggie was more than just a boss. She became a mentor and a friend. She shared stories of her own struggles and triumphs, offering wisdom and encouragement that Jack soaked up eagerly. One evening, as they were closing up, Maggie and Jack sat together over a cup of tea. Maggie looked at him thoughtfully. "Jack, you have a real talent for this. Have you ever thought about opening your own restaurant someday?" Jack was taken aback. He had always dreamed of having his own place, but had never voiced it aloud. "I've thought about it," he admitted, "but it seems like such a distant dream. I wouldn't even know where to start." Maggie smiled gently. "Every big dream starts with a small step. You're hardworking and dedicated, Jack. If you start saving now, planning, and learning all you can, I have no doubt you'll achieve it. And when you do, it will be a place where people are treated with kindness and respect, just like you always wanted." From that moment on, Jack had a new purpose. He worked tirelessly, saving every penny he could and absorbing all the knowledge Maggie imparted. He began to sketch out plans, dreaming of a cozy restaurant where good food and good company would come together in harmony. Jack's vision grew clearer each day, fueled by his passion and determination. Years passed, and Jack's savings grew steadily. His bond with Maggie deepened, and her restaurant became a sanctuary for him. Jack knew that his journey was far from over, but he felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. He was no longer the timid employee at Benny's Diner. He was a man with a dream, a plan, and the unwavering belief that kindness and hard work would lead him to a brighter future. And so, with Maggie's encouragement and his own indomitable spirit, Jack Thompson continued to work towards his dream, one day at a time, knowing that his past struggles had only made him stronger and more determined. The path to his own restaurant was long, but Jack was ready for the journey, confident that the best was yet to come. As Jack Thompson immersed himself deeper into his role at Maggie's Place, his life began to transform in ways he had never imagined. The days turned into weeks and weeks into months, with Jack becoming an integral part of Maggie's cozy restaurant. His hard work and dedication earned him not only Maggie's trust and respect, but also the admiration of the restaurant's regular patrons. They appreciated his friendly demeanor, his attention to detail in preparing meals, and his genuine interest in their lives. One of the most significant changes for Jack was his newfound ability to help his family financially. Back home, his mother, Maria, struggled to make ends meet after his father's passing. His younger sister, Emily, had dreams of attending college but worried about the cost. Jack, with the steady income from Maggie's Place and his careful budgeting, was able to send money home regularly. It eased the burden on his mother and allowed Emily to pursue her education with renewed hope. Maggie, witnessing Jack's selflessness and determination, often spoke of him with pride to her customers. "That young man there," she would say, nodding towards Jack, "he's not just a cook. He's a kind soul with a heart of gold. He's helping his family, he's saving for his dreams, and he's making a real difference in our community." Indeed, Jack's presence at Maggie's Place extended beyond the restaurant's walls. He became a familiar face in the neighborhood, known for his willingness to lend a hand and his genuine interest in others. Whether it was chatting with elderly residents during their afternoon tea or helping a neighbor with groceries, Jack's kindness and compassion touched many hearts. In return, the community embraced him wholeheartedly, forming friendships that went beyond customer and server. The relationships Jack built were not just transactional. They were built on mutual respect and genuine care. He listened to their stories, shared in their joys and sorrows, and became a trusted confidant to many. The bond he formed with Maggie grew stronger with each passing day, their conversations ranging from recipes and restaurant management to life's deeper questions and dreams. As seasons changed and years passed, Jack continued to thrive at Maggie's Place. His savings grew steadily, inching him closer to his dream of opening his own restaurant someday. Maggie, always supportive and encouraging, offered guidance and practical advice, helping Jack refine his plans and strengthen his resolve. She believed in him wholeheartedly, knowing that his success would be a testament to the values they both cherished: hard work, kindness, and a commitment to making a positive difference in the world. Outside of work, Jack's circle of friends expanded, encompassing people from all walks of life: artists, teachers, young families, and retirees. They gathered at Maggie's place not just for the delicious food, but also for the warmth and camaraderie that Jack and Maggie cultivated. The restaurant became a hub of community spirit, a place where laughter echoed and friendships blossomed. Through it all, Jack never forgot where he came from or the challenges he had overcome. His journey from the harsh environment of Benny's Diner to the welcoming embrace of Maggie's place had taught him invaluable lessons about resilience, compassion, and the power of believing in oneself. He carried these lessons with him as he continued to work towards his dream, knowing that every step he took was bringing him closer to the future he had envisioned. And so, with Maggie by his side and the support of a community that had come to love and admire him, Jack Thompson forged ahead on his path. His dream of owning a restaurant was no longer just a dream. It was a goal within reach, fueled by passion, perseverance, and the unwavering belief that kindness and hard work could indeed change lives for himself, for his family, and for all those who had crossed his path. Months turned into years at Maggie's place, where Jack Thompson had settled into a rhythm of hard work, community building, and personal growth. His days were filled with preparing meals that brought smiles to customers' faces, exchanging stories with regulars who had become friends, and honing his culinary skills under Maggie's patient guidance. The restaurant had become more than just a workplace. It was a sanctuary where Jack found solace and purpose. Jack's determination to save for his own restaurant never wavered. With each paycheck, he set aside a portion of his earnings, carefully calculating expenses and planning for the future. Maggie, who had become not just a mentor but a trusted friend, cheered him on every step of the way. She knew Jack's dream was within reach, and she was proud to see him grow into a capable chef and entrepreneur. Meanwhile, word of Maggie's place spread throughout the neighborhood and beyond. People came not only for the delicious homemade meals, but also for the warm, welcoming atmosphere that Jack and Maggie had cultivated. The restaurant buzzed with lively conversations, laughter, and the clinking of glasses, a testament to the sense of community Jack had helped foster. One crisp autumn afternoon, as Jack was putting the finishing touches on a batch of freshly baked pies, Maggie called out to him from the front of the restaurant. "Jack, there's someone here to see you," she said, her eyes twinkling with curiosity. Jack turned around, wiping his hands on his apron, and froze in surprise. Standing near the entrance was Benny Harris, the former owner of Benny's Diner. His expression was a mix of disbelief and resentment, as if he couldn't fathom seeing Jack in a place of success and happiness. Benny strode over to Jack, his demeanor as brash and arrogant as ever. Well, if it isn't little Jack Thompson. Working in a real restaurant now, are we?" he sneered, looking around Maggie's place with thinly veiled disdain. Jack met Benny's gaze calmly, his own eyes reflecting a newfound confidence and peace. "Yes, Benny, I'm here, working hard, learning from Maggie, and building something I'm proud of," he replied evenly, refusing to let Benny's taunts unsettle him. Benny scoffed, shaking his head in disbelief. "I always knew you were a dreamer, Jack. Too soft for your own good. But mark my words, this place won't last. You'll run it into the ground just like you did with my diner." Jack's jaw tightened, but he didn't rise to the bait. He had grown beyond the need for Benny's approval or validation. His life had improved in ways Benny could never understand, surrounded by supportive friends, respected by his community, and with a clear path towards his dream. Maggie, sensing the tension, stepped in gracefully. "Benny, why don't you join us for a cup of coffee?" "There's no need for animosity here," she offered with a warm smile, gesturing towards an empty table. Reluctantly, Benny acquiesced, perhaps out of curiosity or a desire to assert his perceived superiority. As they sat around the table, Maggie poured steaming cups of coffee, filling the air with a comforting aroma. She steered the conversation towards lighter topics, asking about Benny's life and business ventures since selling Benny's diner. Jack listened politely, occasionally chiming in with anecdotes from Maggie's place, showcasing the thriving community they had built together. Benny, despite himself, seemed slightly taken aback by the genuine warmth and camaraderie that filled the room. It was a stark contrast to the tense atmosphere he had cultivated at his own diner. As the conversation continued, Jack found himself reflecting on how far he had come. Despite the challenges and setbacks, he had persevered. His interactions with Benny served as a reminder of the resilience he had developed and the determination that fueled his ambitions. Opening his own restaurant was no longer just a dream. It was a tangible goal on the horizon. After finishing their coffee, Benny stood up abruptly, his earlier hostility creeping back into his voice. "Well, Jack, it's been enlightening," he said tersely, his eyes narrowing as he glanced around Maggie's place one last time. "But mark my words, you'll never be a success. You're too soft, too naive." Jack remained composed, offering a small smile. "Thank you for your concern, Benny. I appreciate your visit," he replied politely, his voice steady. As Benny stormed out of Maggie's place, Jack couldn't help but feel a sense of closure. He had faced his past, confronted his former tormentor, and emerged unscathed. More importantly, he realized that his life was richer and more fulfilling than he had ever imagined during his days at Benny's diner. That evening, as Jack closed up Maggie's place and bid farewell to the last of the customers, he felt a surge of gratitude. He had found not only a job but a community that embraced him for who he was, a kind-hearted soul with a passion for food and a dream of making a difference. With Maggie's unwavering support and the support of his newfound friends, Jack Thompson knew that his journey was far from over. As he locked the door behind him, he looked up at the stars twinkling in the night sky, feeling a renewed sense of purpose and determination. The road ahead was still long and uncertain, but Jack was no longer afraid. He had Maggie by his side, a community that believed in him, and a dream that burned brighter with each passing day. With patience, perseverance, and the lessons learned from both hardship and kindness, Jack Thompson was ready to take the next step towards his dream, a dream that would soon become a reality. With each passing day at Maggie's place, Jack Thompson's dream of opening his own restaurant grew more vivid and tangible. He continued to work diligently, saving every penny he could spare, while learning valuable lessons from Maggie about running a successful establishment. Her guidance extended beyond the kitchen. She taught him about managing finances, fostering customer loyalty, and creating an inviting atmosphere that kept patrons coming back. As months turned into years, Jack's savings reached a critical point. With Maggie's blessing and encouragement, he began scouting locations for his own restaurant. It had to be close enough to Maggie's place to maintain the bonds he had forged with the community, yet distinct enough to carve out its own identity. After careful consideration, Jack found the perfect spot, a cozy storefront just a few blocks away from Maggie's. The process of setting up Jack's restaurant was a labor of love. With help from Maggie, supportive friends, and even some of Maggie's loyal customers who offered their expertise, Jack transformed the space into a welcoming eatery. He named it Jack's Table, a nod to both his own journey and his commitment to creating a place where everyone felt at home. Opening day arrived with a mix of excitement and nervous anticipation. Jack had poured his heart and soul into every detail, from the menu that showcased his culinary skills to the warm, inviting decor that reflected his personality. As the doors swung open, Jack held his breath, unsure of what the future held. To his delight and relief, the response was overwhelming. The people of the town, many of whom had become familiar faces at Maggie's place, flooded into Jack's table throughout the day. They came not just to sample Jack's delicious dishes, but to show their support for a man who had become more than just a chef. He was a friend, a neighbor, and a symbol of resilience. The first week surpassed Jack's wildest expectations. The tables were filled with laughter and conversation. The aroma of freshly cooked meals wafted through the air, and the cash register chimed merrily as customers lined up to pay their bills. Reviews began to trickle in, praising not only the food but also the warm, attentive service that Jack and his team provided. One evening, as Jack stood in the bustling kitchen, overseeing the final preparations for dinner service, he couldn't help but feel a surge of pride and gratitude. His restaurant wasn't just a place to eat, it was a labor of love, a testament to his journey from adversity to achievement. Each dish that left the kitchen represented not only his culinary skills, but also the support and encouragement he had received along the way. Outside, the streets buzzed with activity as word of Jack's table spread like wildfire. People from all corners of the town came to experience Jack's creations, eager to taste the passion and dedication that infused every bite. They shared stories of their visits to Maggie's place and their admiration for Jack's perseverance in the face of challenges. Weeks turned into months, and Jack's table continued to thrive. The restaurant became a beloved fixture in the community, a place where celebrations were held, friendships were forged, and memories were made. Jack greeted each customer with a warm smile and a genuine interest in their day, making them feel like honored guests in his home. With Maggie's ongoing support and guidance, Jack navigated the ups and downs of entrepreneurship with grace and determination. He expanded the menu to include seasonal specials and experimented with new flavors, always mindful of maintaining the high standards that had become synonymous with Jack's Table. The success of Jack's Table wasn't just measured in profits or accolades. It was measured in the connections he forged with his customers and the sense of pride he felt in knowing he had created something meaningful. His restaurant became a beacon of hope and inspiration for aspiring entrepreneurs in the town, proof that with hard work, passion, and a supportive community, dreams could indeed become reality. As Jack stood one evening, gazing out at the bustling dining room filled with happy patrons, he couldn't help but reflect on his journey. From the challenging days at Benny's Diner to the warmth and camaraderie of Maggie's place, every experience had shaped him into the person he had become, a resilient, compassionate leader who had turned adversity into opportunity. And through it all, Jack never forgot the lessons he had learned along the way, the importance of kindness, the power of perseverance, and the joy of sharing good food with good company. As he continued to build his legacy at Jack's Table, he knew that his story was far from over. With each satisfied customer and each new dish created, Jack Thompson looked towards the future with optimism and gratitude, knowing that the best was yet to come. As Jack Thompson's restaurant, Jack's Table, continued to flourish, he found himself reflecting deeply on the journey that had brought him to this point. The success of his establishment wasn't just about financial gain or culinary acclaim. It was a testament to the unwavering support of his community and the resilience he had cultivated over the years. Amidst the hustle and bustle of running his own business, Jack never lost sight of the hardships he had faced, nor did he forget the compassion that had sustained him during his darkest days. He remembered the homeless man outside Benny's Diner, the one whose plight had stirred something deep within him, prompting Jack to act with kindness and generosity. Inspired by his own experiences and driven by a desire to give back, Jack made a decision that would set a new course for Jack's Table. Every day, without fanfare or expectation of recognition, Jack set aside a portion of the restaurant's daily offerings to prepare meals for those in need. He partnered with local shelters and outreach programs, ensuring that nutritious, high-quality meals were delivered to homeless individuals and families who struggled to put food on the table. The act of giving became a cornerstone of Jack's daily routine. Before opening the doors to Jack's Table each morning, Jack and his team would prepare extra portions of hearty soups, sandwiches, and wholesome meals. These were carefully packaged and distributed to shelters, community centers, and directly to those living on the streets. It wasn't long before word spread throughout the town about Jack's quiet acts of compassion. Customers and neighbors alike praised Jack for his selflessness, describing him as more than just a chef or restaurateur. He was a beacon of hope in their community. Some customers even started contributing to Jack's efforts, donating food, money, and their time to support his mission of feeding the hungry. Despite the demands of running a successful restaurant, Jack remained steadfast in his commitment to helping others. He knew firsthand the impact that a warm meal could have on someone's day, offering not just sustenance but also dignity and a sense of belonging. For Jack, it wasn't about charity or recognition. It was about creating a world where everyone, regardless of their circumstances, had access to nourishing food and a moment of respite from life's challenges. As Jack's Table continued to thrive, Jack's vision expanded. He dreamed of creating a permanent space, a community kitchen or cafe, where anyone could come for a meal, no questions asked. A place where people could share a meal together, forge connections, and find support in times of need. This dream fueled Jack's determination to grow his restaurant's outreach efforts and amplify the impact of his generosity. With Maggie's unwavering support and the backing of his loyal customers, Jack began to explore ways to turn his dream into reality. He sought partnerships with local organizations, reached out to potential donors, and engaged community leaders in discussions about the importance of food security and social inclusion. Months turned into years, and Jack's commitment to his community only deepened. He worked tirelessly, balancing the demands of running a thriving restaurant with his passion for social justice and equity. His efforts garnered attention beyond the borders of his town, inspiring others to join him in the fight against hunger and homelessness. One pivotal moment came when Jack secured a grant from a philanthropic organization that shared his vision. With this support, Jack was able to lease a larger space adjacent to Jack's Table, which he lovingly named Jack's Community Kitchen. The new facility was equipped with state-of-the-art kitchen equipment, cozy dining areas, and a team of dedicated volunteers eager to lend a hand. Jack's Community Kitchen quickly became a beacon of hope and hospitality in the community. Every day, it welcomed individuals and families from all walks of life, offering them a warm meal and a safe haven from the challenges of life on the streets. Jack's dream of creating a place where everyone could receive free food without any expectation of return had finally come to fruition. The impact of Jack's Community Kitchen extended far beyond providing meals. It became a place where people found solace, support, and a sense of belonging. Volunteers and staff members, many of whom had experienced hardship themselves, shared their stories and offered encouragement to those in need. Relationships blossomed, friendships flourished, and the community grew stronger together. As Jack stood in the bustling kitchen of Jack's Community Kitchen, surrounded by the sounds of laughter and gratitude, he felt a profound sense of fulfillment. His journey from a struggling employee at Benny's Diner to a successful restaurateur and community advocate had been marked by challenges, setbacks, and moments of profound growth. Through it all, Jack had remained steadfast in his belief that everyone deserved to be treated with dignity and respect, especially during times of hardship. Looking ahead, Jack knew that his work was far from over. He envisioned expanding the reach of Jack's Community Kitchen, partnering with more organizations, and advocating for policies that address the root causes of food insecurity and homelessness. He continued to draw inspiration from the resilience of those he served and the unwavering support of his community. As the sun set on another day at Jack's Community Kitchen, Jack Thompson smiled, knowing that he had found his true calling. His journey had come full circle, from receiving Benny's scorn to embodying compassion and hope for others. With each meal served and each life touched, Jack's legacy of kindness and generosity continued to grow, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of all who crossed his path. As Jack Thompson's vision of Jack's Community Kitchen became a reality, the impact on the town was profound and immediate. The grand opening was a celebration of unity and compassion, attended by community members, local leaders, volunteers, and supporters from near and far. The air buzzed with excitement as Jack cut the ribbon, officially welcoming everyone to the new space that would serve as a beacon of hope for those facing hunger and hardship. Inside Jack's Community Kitchen, the atmosphere was vibrant with laughter and gratitude. The kitchen bustled with activity as volunteers served hot meals to guests seated at long communal tables. The walls were adorned with colorful murals depicting scenes of unity and resilience, created by local artists who had volunteered their talents to beautify the space. Outside, a line of people stretched around the block, patiently waiting their turn to step inside and experience the warmth and hospitality that Jack and his team had cultivated. Families with children, elderly individuals, and individuals from all walks of life shared stories and connected over shared meals, forging bonds that transcended social barriers. The grand opening of Jack's Community Kitchen captured the hearts of the community and quickly gained attention beyond the town's borders. Social media buzzed with posts and shares about Jack's initiative, highlighting his commitment to social justice and community building. Local news stations covered the event, interviewing Jack, volunteers, and guests who shared their experiences and expressed gratitude for the support they had received. As the news of Jack's Community Kitchen spread, it reached unexpected corners of the world. People from different cities and countries were inspired by Jack's story of resilience and compassion, sparking a wave of support and admiration on social media platforms. Jack found himself inundated with interview requests from journalists eager to share his journey and the impact of Jack's Community Kitchen on the community. Meanwhile, across town, Benny Harris sat in his lavish office, a bitter scowl etched on his face as he watched the news unfold on his television screen. His fingers clenched tightly around the remote control, his knuckles turning white with rage. The sight of Jack Thompson, his former employee and perceived rival, basking in the spotlight of admiration and praise was too much for Benny to bear. "He doesn't deserve this," Benny muttered through gritted teeth, his voice thick with resentment. "He's nothing but a dreamer, a fool who couldn't cut it in the real world." The news segment continued, showcasing footage of Jack's Community Kitchen and the heartfelt testimonials from those whose lives had been touched by Jack's generosity. Benny's anger intensified with each passing moment, fueled by jealousy and a deep-seated bitterness that had festered over the years. In a fit of fury, Benny hurled the remote control across the room, watching with satisfaction as it crashed against the wall with a resounding thud. Papers flew into disarray, and the framed portrait of himself with a smug grin stared back at him, a stark reminder of his own self-importance and greed. How Dare he overshadow me? Benny seethed, his voice echoing off the walls of his office. I built Benny's diner from the ground up. I worked hard for everything I have. And now, this nobody thinks he can steal my spotlight. Benny's mind raced with thoughts of revenge and vindication. He couldn't bear the thought of Jack Thompson being hailed as a hero while he remained relegated to the sidelines of obscurity. The bitterness gnawed at him, consuming his thoughts and clouding his judgment. Outside his office window, the city bustled with life, people going about their daily routines, unaware of the storm brewing within Benny's heart. He watched them with a mix of envy and disdain, his gaze fixed on the distant horizon where Jack's community kitchen stood as a symbol of hope and resilience. For days, Benny stewed in his resentment, unable to shake the feeling of inadequacy that gnawed at him. His employees noticed his increasingly volatile mood, whispering among themselves about the sudden change in their boss's demeanor. Benny's once charismatic demeanor had been replaced by a dark cloud of anger and frustration. One afternoon, as Benny paced the floors of his office, his phone buzzed with a notification. A new article had been published about Jack Thompson and his community initiative. Benny hesitated for a moment, his curiosity getting the better of him despite his seething resentment. The article detailed Jack's journey from adversity to triumph, highlighting his compassion, resilience, and unwavering commitment to helping others. It featured interviews with volunteers, community members, and beneficiaries of Jack's community kitchen, each sharing heartfelt stories of how Jack had made a difference in their lives. Benny's hands trembled as he scrolled through the article, his jaw tightening with every word. The contrast between Jack's selfless actions and his own selfish pursuits was glaringly obvious. He couldn't deny the impact that Jack had made on the community, nor could he ignore the admiration and respect that Jack had earned through his kindness and determination. In a moment of clarity, Benny's anger began to wane, replaced by a sense of introspection and regret. He realized that his bitterness towards Jack was rooted in his own insecurities and the fear of being forgotten. He had spent so long chasing success and validation that he had lost sight of what truly mattered, the ability to make a positive impact on others. With a heavy sigh, Benny sank into his chair, the weight of his actions and choices weighing heavily on his conscience. He knew that he couldn't undo the past or erase the mistakes he had made, but he also knew that he had a choice moving forward, to continue down the path of bitterness and resentment or to seek redemption and reconciliation. As the sun set outside his office window, casting long shadows across the cityscape, Benny made a decision. He resolved to confront his own demons, to confront the jealousy and anger that had clouded his judgment for far too long. He knew that he had to make amends, not just with Jack, but with himself. And so, with a newfound sense of purpose, Benny Harris embarked on a journey of self-discovery and healing. He sought out opportunities to give back to the community, to support local initiatives that aimed to uplift those in need. He volunteered his time at shelters, soup kitchens, and community events, humbled by the resilience and strength of those he met along the way. Months turned into years, and Benny's transformation was evident to those around him. His employees noticed a renewed sense of compassion and empathy in their boss as he took the time to listen to their concerns and support their professional growth. Benny became a vocal advocate for social justice and equality, using his influence and resources to create positive change in the community. As Jack Thompson's journey of compassion and community building continued to unfold, an unexpected twist emerged that would forever intertwine his path with that of Benny Harris, his former employer and longtime rival. The success of Jack's community kitchen had not only transformed the lives of many in the town, but had also captured the attention of people far and wide through its message of hope and generosity. Inspired by the overwhelming support and success of Jack's community kitchen, Jack found himself contemplating the next steps in his mission to make a meaningful impact. He had always believed in second chances and the power of redemption, values that had guided him through his own trials and triumphs. It was with this spirit that Jack made a bold and unexpected decision. One brisk autumn morning, Jack approached Benny Harris with a proposition that would test both men's resolve and redefine their tumultuous history. Armed with a vision of unity and reconciliation, Jack offered to purchase Benny's Diner, the very establishment where their paths had first crossed in less than favorable circumstances. Benny, initially taken aback by Jack's proposal, struggled to mask his disbelief and simmering resentment. He had spent years building Benny's Diner into a successful business, fueled by ambition and a relentless drive for recognition. The thought of relinquishing control to his former employee-turned-rival was a bitter pill to swallow, stirring emotions that Benny had long tried to bury. "You can't be serious," Benny retorted, his voice tinged with skepticism. "Why would I sell my diner to you, of all people?" Jack met Benny's gaze with unwavering sincerity, his tone measured and calm. "Because I believe in second chances, Benny. I've seen firsthand the impact that a simple act of kindness can have on someone's life. I want to turn your diner into a place where everyone, regardless of their circumstances, can come for a meal and a moment of respite." Benny hesitated, torn between his pride and the nagging sense of remorse that had plagued him since witnessing Jack's ascent to community hero. He had never expected Jack to offer him a lifeline, let alone one that carried such profound implications for their shared history. After much deliberation, Benny begrudgingly agreed to Jack's terms, his pride tempered by a begrudging recognition of Jack's unwavering commitment to his principles. The transaction was finalized, and Benny's Diner officially passed into Jack's capable hands. True to his word, Jack wasted no time in transforming Benny's Diner into a new beacon of hope and hospitality. He renamed it Benny's Community Kitchen, a gesture of reconciliation and a testament to the transformative power of forgiveness. The once bustling diner now hummed with renewed purpose as volunteers and staff worked tirelessly to serve hot meals to those in need. The transition was met with mixed reactions from the community, with some applauding Jack's bold initiative while others remained skeptical of his intentions. Yet, as days turned into weeks and Benny's Community Kitchen continued to thrive, even the staunchest critics couldn't deny the positive impact it was having on the community. Meanwhile, Benny Harris found himself grappling with a complex mix of emotions as he adjusted to life as an employee at the very establishment he had once owned. His pride took a blow each time he stepped through the doors of Benny's Community Kitchen, now adorned with vibrant murals and bustling with the chatter of grateful patrons. "It's not right," Benny muttered under his breath one afternoon, wiping down tables with a mix of resignation and simmering frustration. "This was my diner. I built it from the ground up. And now, I'm just another employee in Jack's grand scheme." Despite his inner turmoil, Benny couldn't deny the sense of purpose that came with serving others at Benny's Community Kitchen. He witnessed firsthand the impact of Jack's vision as families gathered around tables to share meals, volunteers offered a helping hand, and strangers found common ground in their shared humanity. As weeks turned into months, Benny's resentment gradually gave way to a begrudging acceptance of his new role. He began to see Jack not just as a rival or a former employee, but as a catalyst for change and reconciliation in the community. He admired Jack's unwavering commitment to his principles and the compassion that guided his every decision. One evening, as Benny closed up Benny's community kitchen after a particularly busy day, he found himself reflecting on the twists and turns of fate that had brought him to this moment. The bitterness that had once consumed him had been replaced by a sense of humility and gratitude for the opportunity to make a difference, however unexpected. Outside, the city buzzed with life as night settled over the bustling streets. Benny stood for a moment, taking in the sight of Jack's community kitchen across the way, its warm glow a testament to Jack's enduring legacy of kindness and generosity. And as Benny turned to lock the doors of Benny's community kitchen for the night, a faint smile tugged at the corners of his mouth. Perhaps, he thought, there was more to his journey than he had initially realized, a chance for redemption, forgiveness, and the possibility of making a difference in ways he had never imagined. As the stars twinkled overhead, casting a soft glow over the city, Benny Harris took a deep breath and stepped into the future, ready to embrace whatever challenges and opportunities lay ahead. And somewhere, in the quiet stillness of the night, Jack Thompson's spirit of compassion and community continued to inspire, bridging divides and lighting the way towards a brighter tomorrow for all. As days turned into weeks at Benny's community kitchen, a subtle transformation began to take root within Benny Harris. The routine of serving meals and interacting with patrons from all walks of life softened his hardened demeanor, replacing it with a newfound sense of empathy and understanding. He observed Jack's unwavering dedication firsthand, witnessing how every decision was driven not by profit or ambition, but by a genuine desire to uplift and support the community they both called home. One brisk autumn afternoon, as Benny was arranging fresh produce in the kitchen, Jack approached him with a proposition that caught him off guard. "Benny," Jack began tentatively, "I've been thinking. You know this place better than anyone. What do you say we work together to expand our outreach? Imagine what we could achieve if we combine our strengths." Benny paused, his brow furrowing in contemplation. The offer was unexpected, yet undeniably appealing. For years, he had operated under the assumption that success was measured by wealth and status. But now, standing in the heart of Benny's community kitchen, surrounded by the warmth and camaraderie that Jack had cultivated, Benny couldn't ignore the profound impact they were making. "You mean partner with you?" Benny asked cautiously, his voice betraying a mixture of skepticism and intrigue. Jack nodded, a hopeful smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. "Yes, Benny. I believe in second chances. We've both made mistakes, but together, I think we can do something truly special." The idea lingered in Benny's mind, stirring a whirlwind of emotions. Could he set aside his pride and ego to join forces with the man he had once regarded as his rival? Could he embrace Jack's vision of unity and compassion as his own? In the days that followed, Benny found himself reflecting on the twists and turns of his journey, the highs and lows, the mistakes and lessons learned. He recalled the bitterness and resentment that had clouded his judgment and the newfound humility that had replaced them. He realized that Jack's unwavering belief in the power of kindness and community had touched a chord within him, igniting a desire to make amends and leave a positive impact on the world. One evening, under the soft glow of Benny's community kitchen, Benny approached Jack with a newfound sense of resolve. I've been thinking, Benny began, his voice tinged with sincerity. You were right, Jack. I've spent so long chasing success and recognition that I lost sight of what truly matters. I want to be a part of your vision, to help as many people as possible, just like you've been doing. Jack regarded Benny with a mix of surprise and gratitude. He had hoped for reconciliation, but he hadn't expected Benny to embrace the partnership so wholeheartedly. I'm glad to hear that, Benny, Jack replied, his voice filled with genuine warmth. Together, I believe we can make an even bigger impact. And so, Jack and Benny embarked on a new chapter of their journey, a partnership built on mutual respect, forgiveness, and a shared commitment to serving others. They worked tirelessly to expand the reach of Benny's community kitchen, establishing new outreach programs, partnering with local organizations, and advocating for policies that address the root causes of food insecurity and homelessness. Their efforts did not go unnoticed. The community rallied behind Jack and Benny's shared vision, offering their support through donations, volunteerism, and heartfelt testimonials of the impact Benny's community kitchen had made on their lives. Months turned into years, and Benny found fulfillment in his role as Jack's partner and advocate for social change. He discovered a sense of purpose that went beyond personal gain, embracing the opportunity to make a meaningful difference in the lives of others. As the sun set on another busy day at Benny's community kitchen, Jack and Benny stood side by side, watching as patrons filed out with smiles on their faces and gratitude in their hearts. The air was filled with a sense of camaraderie and hope, a testament to the transformative power of compassion and reconciliation. You know, Jack, Benny began, breaking the comfortable silence between them, I never thought I'd say this, but I'm grateful for everything that's happened, for the chance to make things right. Jack nodded, his own gratitude shining through his eyes. I'm grateful too, Benny, for your willingness to change, to grow, and to join me in making a difference. And so, as the stars twinkled overhead, casting a soft glow over Benny's community kitchen, Jack and Benny's story came full circle. They had started as adversaries, driven by ambition and rivalry. But through trials and tribulations, they had found forgiveness, redemption, and a lasting friendship built on a shared mission to spread kindness and compassion to all who crossed their path. As they turned to lock the doors of Benny's community kitchen for the night, a sense of peace settled over them both. They knew that their journey was far from over, but they faced the future with hope and determination, united in their commitment to making the world a better place, one meal, one act of kindness at a time. And somewhere, in the quiet stillness of the night, Jack and Benny's legacy of resilience and reconciliation continued to inspire, bridging divides and lighting the way towards a brighter tomorrow for all.